Hello, sports fans. It's me, Sportsman Z, welcoming you to Game 2 of the 1979 American League Championship Series. Baltimore won the first game in extra innings, so they are up 1-0. And California has got to win this game, you would think, to try to even the series up. The pitching today for the California Angels is the California pitcher is going to be Dave Frost, and there's his card. And Dave Frost was 16-10 with a 358 earned run average that year in 239 innings pitched. And pitching for Baltimore will be Mike Flanagan, and there's Mike Flanagan's card. And Mike Flanagan was 23-9 with a 308 earned run average in 266 innings pitched. So without further ado and delay, let's get on with this. Leading off for California will be Rod Carew. 1-7 is a ground ball, third base B, one away. So he's out 5-3. Carney Lansford gets a 3-9, which is a single. So there we go. And that's first hit allowed by Flanagan. Brian Downing's up, and he gets a 4-3 on Flanagan, which is a strikeout. Strange place for a strikeout, but, you know, who am I to say? And that brings up Don Baylor. And he gets a 3-5, which is a fly ball center field. So he gets an F8. And that brings up Al Bumbry to lead off for Baltimore in the bottom of the first. He gets a 2-8, which is a ground ball first base B. So ground out to 3, one away. Ken Singleton, 4-8. On Dave Frost is a single 1-3, and it is a single. So Singleton gets a single off Frost, and he's at first base. Brings up Eddie Murray, the first baseman. He gets a 3-7, which is a strikeout, so there's 2 out, and that's the first strikeout for Frost. And Gary Renicke's up, and he gets a 3-6, which is a strikeout. So Frost K's 2 guys that inning and allows Baltimore no runs. That brings up Bobby Grich for the California Angels, and he gets a 1-4, which is a pop out to shortstop. One away. Dan Ford is up, 6-8, and that's a fly ball center field, 2 away. And that brings up Rick Miller, the center fielder. He gets a 6-10, which is a fly ball center field. Or no, that's a triple, no, sorry, I was looking at the wrong picture. That was a triple 1-3 single, or double. So he gets a double. So Rick Miller gets a double off of that. And it's hard because, being a kid in the 70s and 80s, a lot of these players were on both teams. So kind of gets confusing. So anyway, Joe Rudy is up with two outs and a man on second. He gets a 1-12, which is a line out to third plus injury. And that's going to be an 18, so he's gone for a while. Line out to 5, and that's that. But he was playing, Rudy was playing left field, so the Angels are going to need another left fielder, which I'm going to guess is not going to be an issue for them. They probably got a lot of capable players. Actually led the American League in scoring, in run scoring in 1979. So. Let's see here. Well, they don't have a lot of really good options, so I guess they're going to go with Ralph Garr. And he is a left field 4. So they'll put Ralph Garr in. And that's that. So no runs for California in the second. It brings up Lee May. Lee May gets a 5-12 on Frost, which is a ground ball first base C. So he gets a ground out to 3. Doug DeCinces gets a 3-10, and he walks. And that's going to be the first walk issued by Frost. Brings up Rich Dower, the second baseman. He gets a 3-11, which is a strikeout. And that brings up Rick Dempsey, and he gets a 6-7, which is a ground ball to the shortstop. And the shortstop is a 3. That's Jim Anderson. 10-3 at short is an out. So he goes out 6-3. We go to the top of the third. Jim Anderson comes up to the plate to lead off for California, and he gets a 4-11 on Flanagan, which is a shortstop, and the shortstop is Mark Belanger, who's a 2, and he gets an out. He is out to the shortstop. Who was that? Jim Anderson? Yeah, 6-3. Oh, wait. Jim Anderson was up last inning. Okay. So, 4-11, well, it's still an out to the shortstop. So, Rod Carew, that was Rod Carew who was out to the shortstop. And that brings up Carney Lansford. 4-5 is a ground ball second base C, 2 away. 4-3. And Brian Downing gets a 6-11, which is a fly ball left. The left fielder for the Orioles is Gary Renicky, and he's a 2. That's a 12. It's probably an out, and it is. So Brian Downing flies out to 7. That brings up for the Orioles, leading off in the bottom of the third will be Mark Belanger, the shortstop. He gets a 5-3, which is a ground ball third base. The third baseman is a 2, Carney Lansford, and he's out. So 5-3. Oh wait, that was supposed to be Dempsey, but it's still an out for Dempsey. 5-3. All right, God, I got to get on top of this. So now Belanger is up, and he gets a 6-6 on Frost, which is a fly ball right field B. So he flies out to 9, and that's 2 down. And Al Bunbury is up, and he gets a 6-8. Which is a fly ball center field B. So he flies out to 8. No runs for the Orioles in the third. And Don Baylor will lead off for the Angels here in the fourth. And he gets a 4-9, which is a fly ball center field C. So he's out. Fly out to 8. Bobby Grich gets a 3-12, which is a line out to third. Line out to 5, 2 away. And that brings up Dan Ford, and he gets a 1-7, which is a strikeout. And that's the second strikeout of the game for Flanagan. And nobody can seem to break through here. Bottom of the fourth. Coming up for the Orioles is Ken Singleton. He gets a 5-5 on Dave Frost, which is a triple 1-2. And that'll be a single. So, single for Singleton. And that brings up Eddie Murray. He gets a 4-5, which is a strikeout. 1 away. Gary Reineke gets 1-5, which is a strikeout. So 2 outs for the Orioles. And that brings up Lee May, who gets a 1-4, which is a single 1-18. And no, he doesn't get the hit. He's out. So that is a line out to second base. Top of the fifth. Rick Miller is up for 8 on Flanagan's card, which is a shortstop, and the shortstop is a 2, and that's a 3. I think that's an out. 3 and 2 is an out. 1 away. 6-3. Ralph Garr is up, first at bat, coming in for Rudy, who got injured. 5-9 is a fly ball center field. And that brings up Jim Anderson, and he gets a 6-6, which is a walk. First walk issued by Flanagan. And Rod Carew is up, and he gets a 1-8, which is a fly ball right field B. Fly out to 9. And California gets no runs there in the fifth, and this game is shaping up to be just like game 1, a very low scoring affair, which could be won by somebody that scores only a run or 2. Doug DeCinces will lead off for Baltimore in the fifth. He gets a 4-4, which is a strikeout, 1 away. That brings up Rich Dower. Dower with the 4-8, which is a single 1-3 or a line out to second. And that's a line out to second. And then Dempsey. And he gets a 2-6, which is a walk. Second walk allowed by Frost. 2 out, man on, Belanger up. He gets a 3-5, which is a fly ball center field. And no runs come across for the Orioles. We go to the top of the 6th in a scoreless game. Pitcher's duel between Dave Frost and Mike Flanagan. And Carney Lansford is up, and he gets a 3-8, which is a single. Surprised these California hitters are being held at bay by the Baltimore pitching. Brian Downing's up. He gets a 1-7, which is a single 1-13. And he does get a single. So now Flanagan's allowed the first 2 guys of the inning to get a hit. And California has something going here with Don Baylor up. And that's his column. Home run 1 to 6 or a double. Or no, wait, 7? 7 is a triple one or a single double asterisk. So that's going to be a single that knocks in a run. So he gets an RBI, run scored by Lansford, who comes around. Flanagan gives up his 5th hit and his first run, and he still has runners at the corners with no outs. And not Don Baylor, Bobby Grich up. He gets a 4-9 on Flanagan, which is a fly ball center field C, which is 1 out and nobody advances. So there's 1 away, still runners at the corners, and Dan Ford up, and he gets a 3-7, which is a ground ball shortstop double play. So they get out of the inning as he hits it. Dan Ford hits into a 6-4-3 double play, but California did break through for a run. So if Frost can continue to make that hold up, it will have a tied series. Al Bumbry's up, and he gets a 4-6, which is a double 1 to 3 or a single, and that's going to be a single. So Bumbry with the hit, 3rd hit allowed by Frost. Singleton's up, he gets a 5-8, which is a pop out to 3rd base, 1 away. Eddie Murray gets a 3-12, which is a strikeout. 7th strikeout for Frost. And Gary Renicky is up, and he gets a 6-7, which is a ground ball to the shortstop, who is a 3. That's Jim Anderson. 6-3, probably an out, and it is. So the Orioles go down there, and we go to the top of the 7th. It's getting late for the Orioles, but it's only a 1-run deficit too. So the Angels come up, and they will bring up Rick Miller to lead off. He gets a 4-11 on Flanagan's card, which is a ground ball to the shortstop, and he is a 2. And that's an 8, so that's an out. Okay. 1 away. Ralph Garr is up. He was on replacing the injured Rudy. 4-7 is a strikeout. Only the 3rd strikeout for Flanagan, and Jim Anderson comes up, and he gets a 4-3, which is a strikeout, and there's the 4th strikeout for him of the game. We go to the bottom of the 7th. It's 1-0 Angels, with Lee May coming up, and he gets a 4-6, and that's a double 1 to 3 single on Dave Frost, and that's going to be a single. Single for Lee May. 4th hit allowed by Frost. The Sensei comes up, he gets a 1-5, which is a ground ball shortstop double play. So 6-4-3. And up comes Rich Dower, and he gets a 1-6, which is a single. Dempsey comes up, and he gets a 3-5, which is a single. So now the Orioles got a little two-out rally going here. Mark Belanger, though, and he flies out. So yeah, you had to think he was probably going to end that rally. And he 3-8. He flew out to left. Top of the 8th. The Angels coming up, They got a 1-run lead. They would certainly love to pad that lead. Carew up, and he gets a 2-9, which is a double 1 to 10 or a single. And that's going to be a double. So Carew hitting a double. And that brings up Carney Lansford. They're not going to sacrifice with Lansford because he's too good a hitter. And he gets a single double asterisk and knocks in the run. So, good call there. Single, RBI, run scored by Carew. Another hit allowed by Flanagan and another earned run. Downing's up. He gets a 1-7, which is a single 1 to 13. And that's going to be a line out to third, 1 away. One out, 1 on. Don Baylor up. He gets a 4-3 on Flanagan, which is a strikeout. Fifth strikeout for Flanagan. And Bobby Grich is up, and he gets a 3-6, which is a strikeout. So California gets another run. The Orioles right now don't see a reason to, looks like, replace Flanagan, because it's not as if Flanagan's pitching poorly. It's just that they're not getting him any runs. And here's Al Bumbry to try to rectify that situation with a 5-10, which is a fly ball to center field. There's 1 away. Singleton gets a 6-6, which is a fly ball to right field. And that brings up Eddie Murray. And he gets a 6-3, which is a fly ball to left. The left fielder is a 2, and that's, left fielder for these guys now is a 4. And that's a 9, so that's going to be a triple. So Eddie Murray coming up with a 2-out triple, which they really need. And but now they have to try to hit him in. And Gary Renicky up, and he gets a 5-5, which is a triple 1 to 2 single double asterisk. And that's going to be a single that knocks in the run. RBI for Renicky, and the run scored by Murray. And that's the first run allowed by Frost. And Lee May up, and he gets a 6-8, which is a fly ball to center. So the Orioles get 1 back, and now it's 2-1. They've cut the deficit in half. The Angels are up here in the top of the 9th. They would like to put this away. Dan Ford coming up, and he gets a 2-5, which is a fly ball to center. 1 away. Rick Miller gets a 6-4, which is a fly ball, a strikeout. Strikeout on Flanagan, which is the 7th of the game for him. And Ralph Garr comes up, and he gets a 2-5, which is a fly ball center field B. Fly out to 8. So they're out of the inning, and we have the Angels are gonna replace Garr defensively, because he did cost them a run last inning. So they're going to put Larry Harlow out in left field. And Garr was in there trying to get some offense going, but that didn't really work. since he was 0 for 3. And now here come the Orioles trying to get a run off Dave Frost, at least. And Doug DeCinces will lead that effort off, and he strikes out. And that brings up Rich Dower. He gets a 2-6, which is a ground ball third base. And Rick Dempsey is up with 2 outs and nobody on. And he gets a 4-9, and that's a walk. Okay. So Dempsey walks. And Belanger, they're not going to let him hit. So they're going to bring in Pat Kelly to pinch hit. So he will pinch hit with a man at first and 2 down. And he gets a 4-7, which is a ground ball to second. The second baseman for California is Bobby Gritchen. He's a 2. That's a 9. That's probably an out. And it is. And California wins a very close game by the score of 2-1. Put that one in the books. Frost goes 9, gets the win. Flanagan pitched 9 and got the loss by the slim margin of just 2-1. But for right now, it's me, Sportsman Z, Bob Zolke, signing off from a tied series, 1 game apiece.